Far beyond the sun, I'll be
I've been dreaming about a place called Jerusalem. The Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Region 2. Is that Claudette Henry Harris? Are you here? Oh, she's coming. All right, thank you again. We're asking for the flow of the program for these persons to be close to the front as is possible so the program can flow smooth. Thank you.
Officiating ministers, family members, educators, and other well-wishers, good afternoon. It is with deep emotions that I stand here this afternoon to bring tribute on behalf of the Ministry of Education. I want to add that Joni has given professional tribute on behalf of the ministry. It will be interesting the current education officer for this school. It was Edward Bulwer Lytton who said, "We are born for a higher destiny than that of earth. In our journey through life, there is a realm where the rainbow never fades, where the stars will be spread before us like islands that slumber on the ocean, and where the beings that pass before us like shadows will stay in our presence forever." Life is a journey of mixed experiences to pause and reflect many times on our destination to a better, brighter place, a higher destiny than this sometimes troubled life on earth offers. Whilst on this journey, we will receive several opportunities to be good Samaritans, serving to uplift others, even if self-sacrifice is required. It is Mrs. Graham had this type of glorious journey. That's through her life that I stand before you this afternoon. As we continue on our journey to our destinations, I use this opportunity to exhort us to emulate some of the attributes and attitudes gifted to us by Mrs. Graham. I came to know her as a dedicated educator who worked earnestly to contribute to the culture of excellence built at Yallah's Primary School. When I began my journey here in 2012, right, I met her as she acted as principal. She was the grade 5 teacher prior to, and she was so impressive. Mrs. Margaret George can attest to this. I knew her to be a quiet giant that grew many students through her tenure as classroom teacher. It was therefore no surprise that in January of 2014, she was asked to assume the duties as principal of this great institution. During this time, she was most grateful, courteous, and displayed decorum and firm compliance with high standards. Her attendance to supervisory sessions, weighted by characteristics of her great leadership style. I observed that she was an avid listener who spoke as a cook would dispense salt sparingly to flavor the pot. However, when she spoke, all would recognize the practical impact of her suggestions or comments. I remembered fondly that Mrs. Graham was hardly ever late for any of our meetings. And I must tell you, the few times that she was late, it was because she traveled with some other colleagues who will remain nameless. This was a great testimony to the respect and dedication she maintained on her job. Less experienced principals in our circles, and I know that will be spoken of, so I won't say much of that, but just to indicate that she contributed selflessly to the development of others by taking time out in our meetings to give guidance. Neat, calm, brave, diligent, fair, gentle, honest, sincere, and warm-hearted are just a few of the words that characterize the journey Mrs. Graham's life took. She has no doubt inspired other travelers like us to take the path she took and by so doing to improve the lives of others. I can tell you that she has left an indelible mark on Miss Myers and myself. In 2016, the Yales Primary School was selected to be the focus school in the region to host our Jamaica Day activities. When she was approached, her initial reaction was, "This is Yales Primary School. What you see is what you get. Just tell us what it is that you want us to do, and when you return, we will have a team in place." Suffice it to say, within a week when Miss Myers returned, the team was set up, ready, and waiting. Truth be told, there was not much for Miss Myers to do as they took the idea and ran with it. To date, there are still remnants of that Paul Bogle International Airport into which the Yales Primary School was transformed. The event was 2017. We had approached her in November of the previous year. Graduation 2018 was a major milestone in Mrs. Graham's professional journey. Some of you may not know, but she would often share with me how good she wanted this graduation to be, seeing it was going to be her last graduation. The quality of the report she presented at graduation was indicative of the kind of production that would have been presented by an outstanding school principal. The way in which the presentation was made was different, was 21st century as described by Miss Meyer. One that embraced and commended as such. Sometime in September, we got a call from Mrs. Graham indicating that she would not be able to honor our request to be among the list of principals. On any given visit this school, the ethos of the institution, though it is the largest school in the parish, there was always a certain standard maintained. Some of you might be aware that each year we host a regional award ceremony for retirees, retired principals and members of the Region 2 team. Sometime in June of this year, our dearly departed colleague was approached and asked to participate in the 2018 Regional Awards ceremony, since her retirement was just around the corner. She indicated in a calm and very polite way that she preferred to wait until she visited. She preferred to wait until it was her turn. This kind of decision was very much, aligned to the true character of the lady, a character which we believe is second to none. She was not one who focused on creating an impression, but one who believed in creating an impact, and she did. In 2014, when Mrs. Graham was called upon to participate in the NSEL training program, one would never imagine that she had only 4 years left in the service. Many of our principals complain about doing that program, but Mrs. Graham, she took it on as if it was her first year in teaching, and she did so very well, scoring principal we have come to love and admire. In September, again, we recognize that our very working principal, almost always never absent, was not at her post. And we acknowledge that indeed Miss was not well. For those of you who know Mrs. Graham know that she is not absent from work unless she's on government visits. And so we made effort to provide as much support as possible. Friends, 39 years is a very long time. Most of you sitting before me are dreaming of becoming age 39. And so, having given 39 years, not counting the 3 years she spent at Teachers College, to the cause of education, particularly in Region 2, where she served all her life, that is really something to think about. And so, as I wind down, we're very happy that she decided to try out the classroom when she did youth service way back in the late 70s, early 80s at Easington Primary School. She then came here and did 2 years pre-trained teaching, went on to college and came back right here from 1982 as a full-fledged trained teacher, where she gave another 36 years service. She served as classroom teacher, senior teacher, acting vice principal, and as I indicated earlier, became principal in 2014. Mrs. Yvette Graham gave selflessly of her time, her energy, her efforts. We at the Ministry of Education will always be grateful for the opportunity we got to work with her. Not the opportunity she got to work with us, because we are the ones who truly benefited. And some of my principals would, I'm sure, are currently shaking their heads because they understand what I truly mean when I say we are the ones who benefited more than she did. We ask of you to mourn her passing and to remember her legacy. Remember the kind of leader she was, the kind of worker she was. And if only 2 paragraphs, I'll even accept 1 paragraph of her book that you will put in your own life as you seek to make your own mark here on this earth. To her family members, her husband, children, sister, brothers, whom I met as we went on the journey with her, and this part of it now is personal. I really want to thank you for the way you stuck by her during the last few months. I really admired and appreciated it, and I'm sure she did too. I can only encourage you to live, all family members and those of us who desire to see her again, to live so that we will see her again. She lived her life unto Christ. She died having the hope of the blessed assurance. And so, I encourage you all, ensure that you give your life to Christ, so that on that great getting up morning, you shall see your dear wife, aunt, mother, sister again, teacher, principal, whatever she was to you. Back to the Ministry of Education now. And so, as I close, we just want to say, be strong, members, and everyone else. And we at the ministry will always remember the great contribution made by this woman, Yvette P. Graham. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Claudette Henry Harris, for having given us a synopsis of the characteristics of this very dynamic daughter, teacher, educator, facilitator, one who gave her life to the development of the young minds These young minds are making significant contribution to the development of the society. Thank you again as the program move on. Just want to acknowledge the East Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventist representative, Pastor Carl Cunningham, assistant to the president of East Jamaica Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, pastors and elders, the lay magistrates, regional office, regional director, education officer, chairman of the school board, principals, and vice principals, and also the president, parent teacher association, and also want to acknowledge the president-elect, Jamaica Teacher Association, President-elect Owen Speed. We will now have the second lesson, and that will be done by Johan Dean Graham, nephew. We'll be taking from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 50 to 58.
Good afternoon, everyone. The second lesson comes to us from 1 Corinthians 15, verses 50 to 58, and it reads, Behold, my apologies, verse 50. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal put on immortality, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, that this mortal shall have put on immortality, it brought to pass the saying which is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Amen.
Thank you again for having read this second lesson so ably. Before we move on to the tribute and the program, I just want to call on the president-elect of the Jamaica Teacher Association, president-elect, to come and give greeting at this time. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Chairman, members of the Lay Magistrates Association, St. Thomas chapter, that's what you call it. The officiating ministers, members of the school board, as well as the chairman of the school board, just to acknowledge you, and to acknowledge the members from the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, teachers, members of the immediate family and extended family of the deceased, the PTA students, past students, the members of all non-government organizations. I will exclude no one, the videographers and the musicians. Everyone here this afternoon, greetings to you on behalf of the Jamaica Teachers Association. When we lose a member who, from all indications, is so valuable to the development of young minds in the society, we are indeed regretful of a situation like that. But as it was said that the three things that you cannot escape in life, and death is one of them, surely she will escape future taxation. Am I right? But death is certain. And we really, on behalf of the Jamaica Teachers Association, want to at this time our sincere condolences to the family members, the immediate family, to the extended family, to the school family, and to all the friends and associates in this parish. It must be made known to you this afternoon that at one time I applied to become the principal of this school, and I was not successful, which means that Mrs. Yvette Graham must have been a better candidate. So we applaud her for having served for so many years in this profession, in a profession where very little credit is given to teachers, in a profession where teachers can do very little right. The fact of the matter is, when a child does well, they say that that child was always bright. But when the child fails, they say it's the teacher's fault. So we are indeed very much aware at the Jamaica Teachers Association that our teachers face significant challenges as they go about their daily business, the daily operations, in trying to ensure that all goes well for the benefit of our very young. Indeed, this is Parent Month, and it must be made known too that our teachers also serve to guide parents in becoming better parents. So it is a difficult job, and when you take on the fact that leading school by itself is an additional stress in life, that many teachers will tell you without any reservation that they are not going to become a school leader. Because in these times, schools are being asked to be run by principals who have to carry on the burden of financing this project by doing extra chores and extra fundraising activities, which take away from time that should be spent with their families and with their children in particular. And so I know from all indications and from listening this morning that Mrs. Yvette Graham was not an ordinary educator. I want you to put your hands together for the life and work of Mrs. Graham. When you consider that corporal punishment is being removed from the schools and the teachers are now going to be rendered powerless to some extent, and when you consider the complexities surrounding the implementation of the new National Standards Curriculum, of which PEP, you ever hear about PEP, is a part. Indeed, some of the times I wonder if they shouldn't double the final consonant in PEP and then ER at the end. And these are some of the things that we face on a daily basis in the schools. It is not only that, but we have to understand that teachers all want their children to do so well that they become stressed. And even sometimes you hear them say, oh, them can't go and come, they're going to get the pay at the end of the month. They don't mean that. They are trying to use reverse psychology to ensure that the children take on to it and try to do better. They don't mean that. So they take on the stress of even having to know that children's nutrition is taken care of. And there are many teachers, and I'm sure including Mrs. Graham, who would have done a fair share in going into their pockets and taking out monies to give to children so that they can eat daily. And the balloon burst immediately. Because even the balloon up there knows it's true. And you know, it now leads us to a time of reflection. And for all educators and parents, let us understand that education is indeed a chain. And we always say that a chain is as strong as its weakest link. You be the strongest link in the chain. I'm asking and I'm calling on all of you to be the strongest chain in the link. It is important for you as teachers and as educators to look on in life and to see how well you can take care of yourselves while you try to take care of the children of Jamaica. Stress is a serious thing. There are times when teachers get too serious, and I am calling on you to try to relieve the stress by being less serious sometimes. Sometimes you need to just laugh. Sometimes the children say things and they are not rude. Sometimes they don't know better. But the fact of the matter is that many of us as educators tend to go and take it too seriously. And then when we take on that stress, what we do to ourselves is just simply aid those kinds of illnesses that feed on stress. And they will take us to our grave even faster. Find time for yourselves to relax. Find time to improve your life. Find time to improve your life. Find time to spend with your children and help them to grow in the right way. Teach them right from wrong. And I'm sure that from all indications, what I'm hearing of Mrs. Graham, who was nominated to become Principal of the Year, that is no mean feat. I can tell you, if you go to all the schools, we have more than 1,000 of them across the island. And for her to be nominated as one of them, shortlisted, then that is indeed a great feat. In closing here, I just want to say that on behalf of the Jamaica Teachers Association, I am wishing you all peace to bring comfort, courage to face the days ahead, and loving memories to forever hold in your hearts. Have a wonderful afternoon, as wonderful as it can be, and make peace reign as you move forward and as we all go into providing a sound and solid education for our nation's children. Have a blessed afternoon. God bless.
Thank you very much.